Hello, class. We're looking at inequality word problems. We've been working with inequalities. We discussed the different symbols and what they meant, and we also did graphing of inequalities. So your learning intention is, I am learning to write, solve, and graph inequalities. There's two warm-up problems. Please pause the video and see if you can do those on your own. Well, I do hope you tried. If you didn't, please try next time so that you can know if you're understanding concepts or not. To be able to solve, we start like we would any other equation. We have to isolate the x. So we add 5 to both sides. 3x is greater than or equal to 15. Now we'll divide by 3. And x is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, step 1. Is it an open or closed circle? Because it's equal to, it will be closed. I can put my 5 anywhere on this number line. I'm going to give it a closed circle. The alligator mouth is going towards the x. That means that I will shade everything larger than 5. And that is what it looks like. The next one is what we call a compound inequality. You have to remember that now you have 3 sections, not just 2, to work with. So you go ahead and you draw your lines. I've got to get the 6 plus 6 away from the variable. So I'll subtract 6 from each side. Negative 12 plus negative 6 is negative 18. It's less than negative 3x, which is less than or equal to 21 minus 6 is 15. Okay, and that's only less than, it's not less than or equal to on the first one. Last step is to divide everything by negative 3. You have to remember what happens when you multiply or divide by a negative number. What does that do to your symbols? Well, it causes them to switch to the other direction. 18. Negative 18 divided by negative 3. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Switch this to the other direction. Is greater than. X is greater than or equal to negative 5. 15 divided by negative 3 is negative 5. Okay, so the two numbers I have to identify are 6 and negative 5. Step 1, identify your number. Step 2, open circle here because it is not equal to, close circle here. Which way do I fill? On the outside or on the inside? Well, the x is inside, so that means the inside numbers are what I fill. I hope you were able to do those on your own and understand that concept. Word problems. We all groan and moan when we hear word problems, but we usually have to do those. So Alyssa won 40 lollipops playing basketball at the school fair. She gave 2 to every student in her math class. She has at least 7 lollipops left. Write an inequality to represent the situation. So let's look at what's going on. She won 40 lollipops, so that's your total. She gave 2 to every student. She has at least 7 lollipops left. Okay, so what is our variable going to be? You want X for the number of lollipops, you want L for the number of lollipops, P for the number of lollipops. Depends on which variable you like the best. X is your number of lollipops. Per student. Number of X is the number of students. Because we're asking how many students are in her class. So, we know that she started with 40. Then she gave 2 to every student. And she has at least 7 left. So this is less than or equal to 7. Okay, solve the inequality and find the maximum number of students in her class. Okay, step 1, you have to get your variable isolated. This is a positive 40, so I'll subtract 40 from both sides. Negative 2x is less than or equal to 7 minus 40 is negative 33. Okay, any questions so far? Let's divide by negative 2. What does it do when you divide by a negative number? It switches your sign. So x is greater than or equal to negative 33 divided by 2 is going to give you a fraction. So that would be 16 and a half. Now, can I have a half a student? No. So we know that the maximum number of students in her class would be 16 plus herself. Okay, for the next page. More than 450 students went on a field trip. 10 buses were filled and 5 more students traveled in a car. Write an inequality to represent the situation. Be sure to define your variable. What are the important parts? More than 450 students went on a field trip. 10 buses were filled and 5 more students traveled in a car. That is everything we need. So we know this is the total amount of students. We've got 10 buses, but we want to know how many students were on the bus. So B will equal number of students on the bus. Okay, so we've got 10 of the buses, so that would be 10B. Plus we've got 5 more that are going in the car. And we know this is more than 450 students. Any questions? Okay, let's solve it now. 10B plus 5 is greater than 450. Step 1, get the variable isolated. So I will subtract 5 from both sides. $10B is greater than 445. Divide by 10. B is greater than 44.5. So if you're looking at there, more than 450 students were on that trip. We know that each bus had more than 44.5 students on it. So I would round it up, and we would say there were 45 students per bus. Okay, let's look at the next one. Amanda rented a bike from Sean's Bikes. They charged her $2 per hour plus a $10 fee. Amanda paid less than $27. Write an inequality to represent the situation and to be sure to define your variable. We wanted to know how many hours Amanda rented that bike. Okay. I hope you went ahead and highlighted what was important. $2 per hour, $10 fee, less than $27. So the X will be, or H will be number of hours. She had the bike. She rented the bike. Okay, so before she even got on that bike, how much did they charge her? Well, $10 fee. $10 plus $2 per hour is less than 27. That's the inequality we need to solve. 10 plus 2h is less than 27. We're going to subtract 10 from both sides. $2h is less than 17. Divide by 2. Okay, 17 halves. Let's change it into a decimal. H is less than 8.5. So, she had the bike less than 9 hours. Or you could actually put 8.5 hours. So depending on if they rented it by the hour or by the half hour, the fee would be by the hour, but they might not have charged her for a whole hour if she didn't have it for the whole hour. Okay, for the last one, pause the video and see if you can do it on your own. Charles is saving $5 each week. He earns an extra $15 by mowing his neighbor's lawn. How many weeks will he need to save in order to have at least $75? Write in inequality to represent the situation to find your variable. So pause the video and see if you can do this one on your own. Well, I hope you tried. The important things are he saves $5 each week, but he started out with $15 and he needs at least $75. So our variable, the number of weeks, so we'll put W for weeks. The number of weeks. Okay, so he gets $5 each week. That would be 5W plus the 15 he already has. He has to have at least $75. That would be greater than or equal to 75. So the least would be if it's equal to, but he could have more. So let's solve. Start by subtracting 15 from both sides. $5W is greater than or equal to 75 minus 15 would be 60. Divide by 5. And W is greater than or equal to 12. So he has to save for at least 12 weeks to have $75. So remember, whenever you are solving word problems, you read it, you reread it while highlighting the important information, write the equation, and then solve. I know I'm successful when I can write, graph, and solve inequalities. All about inequalities, specifically word problems.